Welcome to another video. I'm excited to share this one with you guys. This is going to be a honestly, pretty simple, straightforward video, but it's kind of a fun little trick that I've learned about and wanted to share with you all, and so that you can take advantage of it as well. So what we're going to be looking at today is how do you add a bar into your report? By bar, I mean well, technically I mean a column, but turns out looking basically like a little bar that comes down here to differentiate or distinguish between different sections on your reports. So yeah, let's get into it. So let's go and edit this report. So first off, this is a project report, and we're pulling in task information onto it. So we have some of these project fields, and then here we have actual task information. The plan completion date is what we're pulling in on these, and the percent complete on this one. And so we're pulling in this information, as you can see from the template task ID. I have a whole nother video that breaks down exactly how to do this. So if you're interested in that, definitely check it out. So but yeah, in this situation, let's imagine that we're wanting to maybe put a bar there to distinguish, okay, here's the project level, here's the project details, well, it's all project level details, project information, but here's the project fields, and here are the task fields that are on the project, right? And so let's look at doing that. And maybe, um, so we have these fields, and that's basically going to put a bar here at the kind of the start of these task fields, and then another one here at the end. So let's put this one here, and then let's go into text mode and add the text. So I have it already written out over here, so I don't have to spend the time writing it. That's what I would recommend you do as well. But if you're really interested in typing this all out, be my guest. But I will leave this code on in one of the comments in a comment below, and I'll pin that to the top, so it should stay right at the top of the comments. That way it's easily accessible for you guys. So let me real quick kind of explain high level what's going on here. We don't need to get too nitty gritty onto, each line of the text mode here, but just so you understand what's happening, basically what this is doing, it is looking and getting the ID of the object, which says if there's an ID on this object, which there always is, then display a the ID kind of will explain what I mean by that. And we're basically saying display X. So that way we're getting this true text equals X. So we're basically saying if there's an ID, then display X. And since there's always an ID, it will always display X. And then here is where we're defining the color. So if you notice the same color, because we're wanting it to just be one uniform bar, I can show you here in a sec what it would look like if we change that, if you were trying to do something different. But normally if we're trying to create a bar, right, it's just one solid color. And then the last thing to note is the width, which is kind of self-explanatory, is going to be how you control the size. So let's just show you what's going on here. Let's save and close. And so this is exactly what I'm talking about, where it brings in this bar. And so now we're easily saying, okay, here's, this side of the report, here's this side of the report. Maybe we're distinguishing for task versus project level data, or it could be anything else. Let's come back in here and let's add another one. So again, let's say we wanted to kind of block off these task fields, and let's paste that in here. And this time, just to kind of show you, let's change a few things. So let's change this to a 10. So it's going to make it twice as wide, and let's save that. And so we can see it's thicker, and it's starting to bring in the name of the field. So that's one advantage of going a bit thinner, is that you actually don't see anything there, so it makes it really clean. Looks like a nice bar. Here you're like, huh, why is there like half an X? So we could come in here, and if you're wanting it a bit thicker and maybe didn't want an X, we could change this to like just a nice little dot. You'll still see something. Display name, let's just keep that as an X for now. Oh, actually, no. We want to change the display name, sorry. That's actually the most important part that we want to change. These other are what basically is going to be would be showing up, but we're not seeing it because it's the same color. So now it's a little dot. So if we were to make it just a little bit wider, just to really kind of show you that, just go 15. So if you needed it to be a bit thicker, you could just use a little dot. I think that's a good distinguishing um, character. You could also probably use a line bar just to see that. So let's see a couple other things. Let's, for the display name, let's see if we can use a line bar. I'm actually not entirely sure if that's going to work. Then let's also change the color. So let's come in here, and these are going to be a hex color, and let's say we want to make it red. So let's get this, and let's change the color of it all. It looks like it should work. And we can do that. So it's another really clean way to say, okay, I want it to be a bit thicker. I want it to easily kind of say, okay, this is, not a field, a column that's a field that I'm trying to fill in. This is really just a way to distinguish and divide different sections of a report. So lastly, just so you have a complete idea, let's come back to this one. Let's make it a bit wider so it'll be easier to see. And then let's say we want the background color to be black, and we want the text color to be that red again. Let's just use that. And this is where you'll see exactly what's going on a bit easier. So this is where you can see what I was talking about with it being an X. And then that's just to give you an idea what's going on over here, just so you're getting the complete story. So so text color, let's make this black. And you'll see now that's that period or that dot. So again, depending on the use case, you may want to add like an X or a line or a dot or something here. Most of the time, if you're using this as again more of an actual bar that's just purely for the aesthetic, then you would want to just have it all be the same color. And let's get blue. Let's do more royal. Actually, I like sky blue. And so we're going to change both of these to blue, and let's change this back to B5 and show you there. So yeah, again, I think that looks cleaner, but if you need it to be thicker, I would, again, depends on exactly what you're trying to do, but make this all the same color and then you could have that bar. If you wanted, you can also combine or put these together kind of next to each other. Let's just, I want to make this all the same color so it's all uniform. And then let's just copy this whole thing just to give you an example. Here, let's add one more column. Let's bring it over here. And let's do that. So you could, create some different designs, right? Obviously, you're not going to be creating art per se in your reports. But if you needed to, have different colors, maybe they signify you're saying, okay, on this side of the color, this side is one color and it's kind of helping visually say, this type of information is here, and then this information is over here. And maybe you're bringing in external fields, so you have a automation, you're using Fusion, you're bringing in data from a different system, from ServiceNow or from a myriad of other data sources that you could be integrated with, and you're wanting to say, hey, I want to see this on a report, and I want to kind of have this bar that says everything after is or within these bounds is going to be ServiceNow data, and maybe you have that kind of a blue or green, um, that kind of like that ServiceNow green color, and then you could have, your whatever other information, in a different block, and you're able to distinguish it that way. So yeah, a lot of different potential use cases really just depends on you and what's going to work for you and your teams. But wanted to show you that. Hopefully that was interesting. You found that to be useful and you have some ideas on maybe how you can put that into your reports and kind of spice things up, make your reports look just, a little bit better, a little bit more visually appealing. So if you have any questions, definitely don't hesitate to reach out. I'll leave all my contact information in the description of this video. So you can email me, you can reach out on LinkedIn, whatever is easiest. Try to be pretty responsive. So, and again, if you have any ideas or recommendations for future videos, always open to hearing your feedback, your comments. So definitely leave those below as well. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this, and I will catch you on the next video.